February 19, 1945, 9:07 a.m. Beach Green 1, Iwo Jima. The landing beaches have become a trap. Black volcanic sand swallows boots to the ankles. Amphibious tractors grind to a halt. Marines dive for cover behind wrecked landing craft that offer almost no protection. The air is thick with smoke, cordite, and volcanic dust. Then the island erupts. Hidden Japanese machine guns tear across the beach from concrete pillboxes buried inside Mount Suribachi's defenses. Mortars crash without warning. Artillery shells throw black sand high into the air. Every step forward costs lives. Within minutes, the shoreline is covered with burning vehicles, shattered equipment, and wounded Marines unable to move. The advance is stopped. The defenders remain almost invisible. Every bunker that seems silent suddenly opens fire again. Every ridge hides another gun. Then, amid the chaos, one Marine does something no one expects. He rises into full view of the enemy. Across his shoulders is a weapon that should not even exist. It isn't a standard Marine Corps machine gun. It isn't a Browning automatic rifle. It isn't anything listed in the official inventory. Instead, he carries a machine gun ripped from the rear cockpit of an aircraft, modified with a rifle stock, a homemade trigger, and just enough engineering to make it fire from a man's shoulder. An airplane weapon, turned into something that can charge across a battlefield. The gun unleashes an impossible torrent of bullets, nearly 1,200 rounds every minute. Japanese firing ports that have pinned down entire companies suddenly fall silent. Marines who have been trapped in the open begin moving again. The impossible is happening. One unauthorized weapon and one fearless Marine are changing momentum of one of the bloodiest landings of the Second World War. His name is Corporal Tony Stein. The weapon will become known simply as a Stinger. Before the battle is over, Stein will make run after run through open enemy fire, not only to attack Japanese positions, but to rescue wounded Marines and carry desperately needed ammunition back to the front. Many will survive because he refuses to stay down. But this story doesn't begin on the black sands of Iwo Jima. It begins months earlier with an inventive Marine, a discarded aircraft machine gun, and an idea that no military manual ever imagined. The story begins long before Iwo Jima. Months earlier, the Pacific War is grinding forward one island at a time. Every victory comes at an enormous cost. Japanese defenders have perfected a style of warfare unlike anything the Marines expected. Instead of meeting American forces head-on, they disappear into dense jungle, fortified caves, and carefully concealed firing positions. A machine gun may fire only once before vanishing again, leaving Marines to search for an enemy they can barely see. Corporal Tony Stein learns these lessons the hard way. Before becoming one of the most celebrated Marines of the war, Stein serves with the 3rd Marine Division during the brutal Bougainville campaign. The island is a maze of thick vegetation, muddy trails, and relentless ambushes. Every patrol becomes a contest of patience and survival. Stein notices something that frustrates nearly every Marine. When enemy machine guns suddenly open fire, the standard Browning automatic rifle provides dependable firepower, but not enough volume to keep Japanese defenders pinned down. Water-cooled machine guns are devastating, yet they are heavy, slow to move, and require multiple men to operate. The Marines need something different, something lighter, something faster, something capable of overwhelming an enemy position before the defenders have time to react. Stein is not an engineer by profession, but he is remarkably skilled with machinery. Before the war, he works as a toolmaker, shaping precision metal parts with extraordinary accuracy. He understands steel springs and mechanisms. He knows that every machine, no matter how complicated, follows simple mechanical principles. Those skills now become weapons. Somewhere behind the front lines, Stein studies an unlikely piece of equipment, the Browning and /M2 aircraft machine gun. Unlike the heavy Browning machine guns carried by infantry, this version is built for airplanes. Mounted inside the wings or flexible rear cockpits of bombers, it is designed to destroy enemy aircraft at incredible speed. Its rate of fire is astonishing. Nearly 1,200 rounds every minute, twice the speed of many ground machine guns. The weapon is never intended to be carried by one man. It has no shoulder stock, no conventional trigger, no practical way to aim while standing. To military planners, The idea is impossible. To Tony Stein, it is simply another engineering problem waiting to be solved. Working with fellow Marines and aviation armorers, Stein begins experimenting. An abandoned aircraft gun becomes a foundation. A rifle stock is fitted to the rear. A pistol grip is fabricated. A usable trigger mechanism is improvised from available parts. The gun is carefully balanced so one man can actually fire it from the shoulder or hip. Nothing about the weapon is official. No manuals describe it. No factory builds it. No officer requests it. It is born entirely from battlefield necessity. The Marines who first see are skeptical. The weapon looks awkward. Its long barrel stretches far beyond the stock. Ammunition belts hang loosely from the receiver. The recoil promises to be brutal. Some wonder whether it will even survive sustained firing. Then Stein squeezes the trigger. The weapon roars, not with the measured rhythm of a bar, not with the heavy pounding of a crew-served machine gun. This is something else entirely, a deafening metallic scream. The barrel spits flame. Spent brass pours onto ground like rain. The burst is over almost before anyone expects it. The target in front of him is shredded. Silence follows, then smiles. The Marines immediately understand what they are witnessing. This homemade machine gun delivers more firepower than almost anything a single infantryman can carry. Someone gives it a nickname, the Stinger. The name fits perfectly. Fast, violent, unexpected. Word spreads quietly through the division. Stein continues refining the weapon, learning how to control its tremendous recoil. He discovers that short bursts are essential. Fire too long, and ammunition disappears in seconds. Fire with discipline, and the Stinger becomes devastating. Its greatest strength is shock. Enemy soldiers accustomed to brief bursts from rifles and bars suddenly face an overwhelming wall of bullets. The psychological effect is almost as powerful as the physical one. Yet there is one problem no modification can solve. The Stinger is unofficial. If it breaks, there are no spare parts. If ammunition runs low, its incredible firepower becomes meaningless. And if Tony Stein is wounded, there is almost no one else capable of keeping it running. Months pass. Training intensifies. Rumors begin circulating through the fleet. The next target will be unlike anything the Marines have faced before. A tiny volcanic island lying halfway between the Mariana Islands and Japan itself. Its name is Iwo Jima. From the air, it appears insignificant. Just 8 square miles of black volcanic rock rising from the Pacific Ocean. But beneath its surface, thousands of Japanese defenders are building one of the most sophisticated defensive systems of the entire war. Miles of underground tunnels, hundreds of reinforced bunkers, hidden artillery, interlocking machine gun positions, every inch carefully prepared. The Marines loading onto the invasion fleet know the battle ahead will be brutal. None of them can imagine just how deadly those black beaches will become. And none of them know that one Marine is about to carry an unauthorized weapon into one of the most famous battles in American military history. Before dawn on February 19th, 1945, more than 450 American ships surround Iwo Jima. Battleships have pounded the island for days. Carrier aircraft have bombed its defenses repeatedly. Many Marines believe little could still be alive. They are wrong. Deep beneath the volcanic rock, Lieutenant General Tadamaki Kurabayashi's defenders wait in silence. They have strict orders not to waste a single round until the beaches are crowded with men and equipment. At 8:59 a.m., the first assault waves reach the shore. Tony Stein steps off his landing craft and immediately sinks into the soft black sand. Every stride feels like running through loose ash. Trucks bog down. Tanks struggle for traction. Marines search desperately for cover where almost none exists. For several long minutes, the island remains eerily quiet. Then the silence shatters. Machine guns erupt from hidden pillboxes. Mortars begin crashing across the beach. Heavy artillery shells tear through landing craft still unloading troops. Carefully concealed firing ports suddenly appear in every direction. Within moments, Beach Green 1 becomes a killing ground. Entire squads flatten themselves against the sand, unable to advance or retreat. Any Marine who stands becomes an instant target. Stein studies the hillside through the smoke. He doesn't see enemy soldiers. He sees muzzle flashes. Tiny bursts of orange flame flicker from openings almost invisible against the volcanic rock. Every flash marks another machine gun, waiting for its next victim. Most Marines hug the ground. Stein does the opposite. He rises to one knee, shoulders a stinger, and charges forward. The aircraft gun unleashes an explosive stream of fire unlike anything on the beach. The weapon's blistering rate of fire tears into bunker openings before Japanese gunners can adjust their aim. The sudden barrage catches the defenders by surprise. One firing position falls silent. Then another. Marines pinned behind wrecked vehicles seize the opportunity to move. Stein keeps advancing. Each burst lasts only seconds. He knows the stinger consumes ammunition at an incredible pace. Every trigger pull must count. Soon the belt runs dry. Most men would stay under cover. Stein turns and sprints back across open sand. Bullets snap past his helmet. Mortar fragments whip through the air. Somehow he reaches the ammunition supply, grabs another belt, and races back toward the front. He repeats the journey again and again. Witnesses later estimate he makes 8 separate trips through enemy fire, carrying ammunition forward while helping evacuate wounded Marines on the return. Each trip demands the same impossible choice: run into the fire or leave others without ammunition. Stein never hesitates. At one point, he spots several wounded Marines lying exposed between the American lines in a Japanese bunker. Enemy bullets strike the sand all around them. Without waiting for orders, he dashes into the open. One by one, he drags or carries the wounded back to safety before returning to the fight. His actions inspire everyone nearby. Marines who have been pinned down begin pushing forward once more. The Stinger's relentless burst force Japanese gunners to keep their heads down just long enough for assault teams to close the distance with grenades and flamethrowers. The homemade weapon is doing exactly what Stein designed to do: not replace heavier machine guns, create opportunities, break enemy fire for just a few precious seconds. Sometimes on a battlefield, seconds are everything. Throughout the day, Stein refuses to slow down. His uniform becomes stained with volcanic dust, sweat, and powder residue. The Stinger grows scorching hot from constant firing, yet continues to function. As darkness approaches, the Marines finally establish a fragile foothold beyond the beach. The cost has been staggering. Thousands are dead or wounded, but the invasion has survived its first terrible day. For his extraordinary courage, Tony Stein will later receive the Medal of Honor. His citation will praise his fearless assaults, his repeated ammunition runs, and the lives he saves under relentless enemy fire. Tragically, he will never learn of the award. Just days later, on March 1st, 1945, while continuing the advance across Iwo Jima, Corporal Tony Stein is killed in action. He is 24 years old. The Stinger survives as one of the most remarkable battlefield improvisations of the Second World War, a weapon born from necessity, carried by a Marine who refused to accept impossible odds, and remembered as a symbol of the courage that helped secure one of history's bloodiest victories. When the smoke finally clears over Iwo Jima, the black volcanic island has been transformed into one of the most costly battlefields in American military history. For 36 relentless days, Marines fight yard by yard through tunnels, caves, and fortified bunkers. By the time the island is declared secure on March 26, 1945, nearly 7,000 Americans have been killed, while almost the entire Japanese garrison has fought to the death. The victory comes at an extraordinary price, but provides a crucial base for fighter escorts and emergency landings during the final air campaign against Japan. Corporal Tony Stein does not live to see that victory. On March 1st, 1945, only 10 days after the landing, he is killed while leading another attack against entrenched Japanese positions. Like so many Marines on Iwo Jima, he gives everything before the battle is won. Months later, the United States recognizes what his fellow Marines already knew. Tony Stein is posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest award for military valor. His citation honors not only his fearless assaults with the Stinger, but also the repeated ammunition runs and rescue missions that saved countless lives under relentless enemy fire. Yet medals alone cannot explain why his story still endures. What makes Tony Stein extraordinary is not simply that he fought with a homemade weapon. It is that he saw a problem no one else had solved and refused to believe the impossible was impossible. His skill as a craftsman gave him the idea. His courage gave it purpose. And when the moment came, he carried both into one of the deadliest battles of the Second World War. The Stinger was never an officially issued weapon. It never appeared in standard equipment manuals. It was a product of ingenuity, necessity, and one Marine's determination to give his fellow soldiers a better chance to survive. History often remembers the battles. It remembers the generals. It remembers the victories. But sometimes the course of battle is changed by a single man carrying a weapon that was never meant to exist. And that is why, more than 80 years later, the name Tony Stein still echoes across the black sands of Iwo Jima.